activities in the Dublin area have been held throughout this week, and two major events are planned for Friday and Saturday. I'm Kathleen Radcliffe, and I'll share those green stories and more today, Thursday, April 23rd. Dublin's Earth Week activities kicked off with a cleanup and planting of native species in several parks in Dublin, Saturday, April 18th. At the Dublin City Council meeting Monday, April 20th, Dublin Mayor Marilee Chinnansey-Zerker read a proclamation designating Earth Week in the City of Dublin. Council also heard remarks from Beth Lozier, Operations Administrator in the city's Division of Streets and Utilities, who reminded residents about the Household Hazardous Waste Collection event planned from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday, April 25th at Ashland, 5200 Blazer Parkway, and other cleanup opportunities. The city is sponsoring the event in conjunction with the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio, Ashland, and the Dublin AM Rotary Environmental Club. Lists of the type of household hazardous waste that will and will not be accepted can be found on the city website www.dublin.ohio.us.
Space and our environment is very important to us here in Dublin. And so we want to read a little bit about the proclamation and how we respond in Dublin. Whereas environmental awareness is critically important for Dublin citizens of all ages, the City of Dublin strives to be a leader in environmental awareness, innovation, and sensitivity. We are all learners interacting with others in the environment in a lifelong process. Environmental awareness includes the appreciation, preservation, and respect of our natural resources and the development of positive attitudes and skills required to participate intelligently in environmental decision making. We have a number of things going on this week, which I think you'll mention, won't you, when you speak to us, so I won't read them here. But because of all of this, we on Dublin City Council would like to declare this week Earth Week in the City of Dublin and urge all citizens to renew their commitment to be environmentally sensitive and to take part in the many planned activities that will occur during Earth Week, continuing the great tradition of keeping Dublin clean. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilee. We just wanted to invite you out to some events this week. One, on Saturday, the Household Hazardous Waste with the Solid Waste Authority, the Rotary AM, and Rumkey, and Dublin, and AMVEX. We want to just say thanks to our partners in the Ashland, especially Ashland. It's at Ashland. And we also have neighborhood cleanups coming up over the next 4 weeks, where you can call and get dumpsters for your neighborhood. And then Arbor Day planting at Glacier Ridge is coming up this Friday, where there will be a planting. So thank you, Mary.
Friday, April 24th, the City and Dublin City School District will host an Arbor Day celebration and tree planting from 2 to 3:15 p.m. at Glacier Ridge Elementary School, 7175 Glacier Ridge Boulevard. The program, which is open to the public, will include education about Arbor Day from Paula Chope, the city's Director of Forestry, and student involvement. We'll be back in a moment with more news from Dublin after this message from the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Representative John Carney, who represents the 22nd House District, which includes the Dublin area, spoke to Council about federal stimulus money that might be available for Central Ohio projects. Here's some of what Representative Carney had to say.
On the work that we've been doing here in the legislature, and then certainly would be happy to take any questions from all of you or any of your audience members. Over the first few months of the legislature, we've been focused on the budget. I serve on the Transportation and Justice Subcommittee of Finance, so during the first couple of months of the year, we focused on the transportation budget. You may have heard discussion about the 3C corridor linking Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland together, and right now we're in the process of pursuing federal stimulus dollars. There's about $8 billion in federal money available for high-speed rail corridors. So we've essentially empowered our state to go out and seek some of those dollars. Additionally, there's a number of other items within the transportation budget, including the stimulus dollars that came from the federal government. They essentially were put in the transportation budget so that they could be spent as expeditiously as possible. And as you all are very familiar, we were lobbying to get a couple of projects out here to Dublin for stimulus dollars. Unfortunately, we were not successful in getting those, at least in the first phase. But that doesn't mean that we're done lobbying at this point. Certainly with the requirements by the American Recovery Act, these dollars have to be encumbered within essentially a year's time. We think that there's a possibility that some folks who have received dollars don't really have quote-unquote shovel-ready projects, and so there may still be an opportunity for us to seek and essentially get a hold of some of those dollars, so we're going to continue to actively pursue that. Been working with a number of your businesses out here in Dublin that have issues, some related to the budget, some not so related. Certainly the Dublin Methodist Hospital has some concerns with regard to the franchise fee, non-contracting language, a number of different things that are in this budget, so I've been working very closely with them, Ohio Health and others, to make certain that we come up with a proposal that makes sense for the healthcare community. Sequin, I've been working with them on some PEO legislation, and so I've been sitting down with the leaders there, and we're working to pursue legislation. In addition, you certainly heard about the education plan of the governor. I've been working very closely with Dr. Axner to make sure that we make certain that the plan that's crafted makes sense for the Dublin public school system. In addition, you have St. Bridget out here, which also, though private, receives dollars from the state. So in fact, I was out there today to talk to them about some of the auxiliary funds that they receive to make sure that we do our part to ensure that all schools, whether they be public, private, public charter schools, that we're supporting excellence in our education system. That is what our focus should be, and that's what I plan to make certain that we do in the legislature.
First of all, we would like to thank you for advocating on behalf of Dublin projects, even though at this round we haven't been successful. But we would want to reiterate that we are shovel-ready, and we are always shovel-ready. So we certainly hope that there will be reconsideration of some of these projects, if not in this round, certainly consideration of high priority for the next round. We'll stay working closely with you. I know that our Economic Development Office and City Manager have been doing that, and we certainly want to continue in that vein. As you know, we have worked very hard to have a strong corporate base here in Dublin in order that we would have financial stability really for our residents, both corporate and residential residents. And we look forward to continuing that and continuing to help you shape the laws that will allow communities such as ours to continue to do that. Are there other comments of council members? We appreciate you coming and running back and forth the way you've been doing for about 3 months now, I know, with being on the finance committee.
Thanks, Mayor. I will say also, and a point that I made with a lot of the decision makers on the stimulus project, the projects are not only are your projects shovel-ready, but we think that they can be leveraged to create jobs down the line, which is really what the purpose of federal stimulus dollars should be, is not only to get people back to work today, but to sustain jobs in the future. And so I encourage you all to be making certain that you're making that point, because I think that's a particularly important point to be making. And I know that I'm reiterating that point on a repeated basis to the folks, given the fact that 2 of your projects were number 1 and number 2 on my list, and certainly I think we should continue to push those projects, and I plan to do exactly that. And we will also have a capital budget process that's coming forward here, and that's one, again, that I think we should be in regular contact on, given the fact that I think there's a lot of capital projects out here in Dublin that could be benefited from the capital budget.
Thank you, and I'm glad you point that out about employment, because all of our projects like that not only have employment for people who are working on them, but employment long term.
Be sure to check out the Dublin Local page at columbuslocalnews.com for more details on these and lots of other stories from your community and Central Ohio. Thanks for visiting, and stop back daily for the latest on the Dublin scene.